Hey guys, Rehan Solomon here at Design Fusion. In this video, I'll be showing you how to reverse engineer this entire kettlebell using Solid Edge 2020. So when working with STL files that you want to reverse engineer, it's good to do a little pre-planning. You should have a workflow in mind that you want to follow. So we can see some standard shapes here that we can capture in this kettlebell, like the cylinder area here. We can capture the sphere, the main part in the middle here. There's also going to be some planes and these little cutouts in the bottom, we'll look at those afterwards. So if you have the part in ordered, you want to right click on the body feature there and move it to synchronous. So you get the reverse engineering tab up here. And personally, I like to work with a construction surface when dealing with STLs. So I just go ahead and toggle that to a construction surface instead. And let's get started. So what we'll first do is I'm going to use the align command. I'm going to center this kettlebell with the middle plane there. So align, I'm going to click the body, accept it. I'm going to accept these principal axes since it looks like it's already in the center of the kettlebell. And I'm going to select our original coordinate system to match it to and accept. So now you can see we have the kettlebell centered with our coordinate system. This is going to help when we mirror over that feature, the handle at the top here. I also go into the settings here and I want to increase the size of our reference planes just so I can have a better visualization. So you can see they're a little bit bigger now. It's going to just help visualize it a bit better. So we're going to start off by identifying the regions we want to extract. So as I mentioned, we're going to extract that cylinder area, the sphere, some of these flat plane areas here. You can see that's cut off of the sphere. So let's get started. So we're going to select the manual command. Here you can choose which color you want. You can just distinguish what kind of surfaces you're going to be extracting. So we're going to start off with the sphere here, and how I like to do it is I just make a nice I do all the borders first and then I just fill it in. And keep in mind you don't need to get every single spherical surface here. You just need to get the majority of it, so when you go to capture it, it knows it gets the rough shape. It doesn't have to be exact. And you notice how I just remove some of the material there. So in case you select stuff you don't want, you just hold control and you can basically remove any selection surfaces you already selected. I'm just going to make my way around a nice border here. Remember, it doesn't have to be exact. This is good enough. Just make a quick border around these flat areas here. Again, I'll just hold control to remove these areas I don't want. And we'll do the bottom. Just wrap it all around. Just turn it over. Capture this area here. Turn it over again. And one more time. Just a little bit left. Okay. So now I'm just going to go ahead and fill in the rest of the area. Just work your way through. Okay, that looks good. I think I got enough areas. So as I mentioned, you want to avoid these areas, these rounded areas. You don't want it to reflect your surface when you're trying to capture that as a sphere. So we'll click the check mark to accept that, and now you see you have this this filled in region here that you can use the fit command afterwards, and we'll fit a sphere using that as a boundary. Now we'll select a different color to we'll capture these plane surfaces here, these flat planes. And again, I'm just going over the edge, not too worried about capturing the outside surfaces, as I'm just going to remove these like this. Again, you hold the control button and just drag along what you don't want. You also want to make sure you don't get any of the inside surfaces here, so that's what I'm checking for. Okay, it looks good. I'll accept this. I'm also going to do this inside surface just so I can, I'm going to create a plane afterwards on this as well, and I'm going to measure the distance between the outside and the inside so I can see how much material to remove when I recreate this number 8 cutout here. That's good enough. You don't need to take the whole thing. All right, we'll do this side as well. Again, just capture that flat area. And if you need to get more fine areas or smaller areas, the way to do that, you would just zoom in and your brush becomes finer. And then if you need to do more coarse area, just zoom out and your brush obviously becomes bigger. I capture the bottom, a flat plane as well. And there's also a little flat plane here just along the edge that I want to capture. Just I'm going over the edge and taking the chamfered surface as well, just to make sure I don't get those mini rounds in there. I'm just going to remove the bottom surface there, holding control again to make sure I only get that flat planar surface. And you don't need to do the whole way around, just maybe 2-3 areas, and that's going to be good enough. The plane's going to go through those 3 areas when you create it. Let's do one more here on this side. And just remove that bottom surface again that we don't want. Okay, that should be enough. Looks good. We'll accept that. Just right click to accept. All right, now all we have left is this cylinder face here. Use a different color. Take green for this and just select all the way around. Remember, you don't want to capture any of those rounded or chamfered surfaces. You want just the cylindrical face. And we'll click to accept. Okay, so now we have all our regions identified. As you can see, we got all the surfaces we need. And now we're going to go to the fit command. This is where you fit the surfaces you want over the identified regions. So we're going to start with the planes, all the planes we created. This is going to create a planar surface over those that you can work with. Go ahead and use a 0.5 tolerance. Select that and accept. Head over to the other side. We'll do that inside surface, accept, outside surface, accept. And we'll capture the bottom as well. And now we'll do that the top one on top of that cylinder here. So when you're selecting more than one, you want to hit Control and select these so you can highlight all 3. All right, all highlighted, and then you can click to accept. All right, good. Now we'll do the cylinder next. We'll leave that tolerance as is. Select the cylinder, accept. Go to the sphere, capture this, accept. Okay. So you can see how it captures it pretty well. You can see the overlapping faces shows that it's capturing it pretty well. And one thing you'll notice here, see that planar surface on top of the cylinder? It's not fully intersecting. And I want that to fully intersect because I need to trim away the excess material. So you can see how it's not touching the edge of that cylinder there. So we want to fix that because we want a nice clean trim. So not a problem, we'll just go over to our surfacing tab, we'll go to the extend command, select the edge you want to extend, and we'll just bring it out a bit to make sure it's intersecting. I'll just use a distance of 2, enter, finish. And there. Now it's fully intersecting. That's fine. Now what I like to do now is I transition to ordered because I just like to have it history based. Anything I do from this point forward, I can go back and edit if I need to. If you're more comfortable in synchronous, by all means, you can continue in synchronous. And a big feature or a command that I like is the intersect command. The intersect command is going to save us a lot of time. It's basically going to allow us to do 8 or 9 trims in one command. Instead of trimming all of these one by one, we just use the intersect command. We'll select all these surfaces. Take the bottom one, two, and the other side. This one here. And we'll accept. And now you just click all the areas you don't want. So I don't want this excess plane here, the little lip on the cylinder. I'll take this one off too. Take this bubble out, this other part and the other cap, and those bottom surfaces as well I want gone. This one and this one. Okay, that looks good. So you can see how this intersect command basically did 8 trims in a single command there. It's a really powerful tool. You can see when I bring this back, it's pretty accurate, all the cutouts. Now we're going to make this handle shape here on the top. So in order to do that, first I just want to make sure this is nicely in the middle, it's lined up. I'm going to use the intersection command here. Select this body, select this right plane. And it's going to give me a full intersection that I'm going to use afterwards as a guide for when I sweep that. I'm going to sweep a cylinder to capture that handle. So I want to make sure I get it as accurate as possible, and I want to split it down the middle, and then I'm going to mirror it over. Also, just trying to capture that cutout distance for the number 8 we did in the beginning. And there it is. Those are the two I need. We'll go over to the we'll go to the inspect tab. Go to minimal distance, surfaces. And we'll just select these 2 surfaces, and it should tell us, yeah, so the minimum distance, so it's 1 millimeter, so 1 millimeter cutout. And we'll use this information later in the end when we make this cutout. Now I'm going to show the intersection again. I want to do it this way oriented. I'll hide this again. Now I'm going to use create a sketch. Let me select this plane. There we go. I'm going to use the project to sketch command here to get the nice outline of the entire outside body here. And I want to create a line from there to there and here to here. That's where it's the only area I need really. And I'm going to create a line here to make that clear. This is the center point where I'm going to mirror the handle about. I'm also going to create another line from this point. Well, actually, I do from the bottom. Then we're gonna round that part afterwards. From here to the other corner. Okay, I'm going to make that a construction line. I'm also going to place a line from this endpoint to the other side. So this will give me the diameter of the handle there. So 25 millimeters. So when I go to offset this, I know I need to offset that curve 12.5 millimeters to get it nicely in the center. So that's good, that's fine. Now we just delete the rest. We're not gonna need the rest of the curves here. So just go ahead and window select these and hit delete on your keyboard. Then we'll go to the trim command and trim away these excess pieces. Sometimes you need to zoom in to see if there's any tiny pieces still passing that line, but no, we're okay. And trim away these excess ones in the bottom here. That too, trim. And get rid of all these little ones here. Okay, that looks good. Just making sure that's still a construction line. So we're good there. And we'll delete that. We don't want it to interfere with our line there. Okay, so we'll finish that. Actually, I forgot to offset it. Should offset it and then we'll create a new sketch. So the offset command here, I have 12.5, half of 25 as we saw earlier. Click to accept, and you want to do it to the inside so we get it nicely in the middle. These curves got extended. We can just go ahead and delete that. And we'll trim away this extra line here. Okay, good. All right. We're gonna finish sketch and finish. Now this curve that we offsetted is it's kind of choppy. It's a bit raggedy, so we're gonna go ahead and create another sketch, and this time I'm gonna use a curve to follow that offset curve that we use. This is gonna give us a smoother surface when we go ahead to sweep this. And I'll do this first and I'll show you guys both what happens if I use the offsetted one, and then what happens when I use this curve I'm creating now. So I went and selected the center point of the surface here, that circular surface, and then you just want to tie it to these key points of the curve we offsetted in the sketch before. A couple of points, get a little more near the end, make sure it's following the curve nicely. And this one and the end point. Okay, good. So that looks good. Go ahead and close sketch. Finish. And now I'm going to create the cross section for the sweep, which is going to be the 25 millimeter circle. Go to our circle command. Again, I want to place it at the center point of this surface here, so I'm just going to use the quick pick center point and just key in 25. I'll throw a dimension on it, just fully constrain it. And finish sketch. Okay, so now I'll show you what happens if I use that offsetted curve I created in the beginning, and you'll see what it looks like, and you'll see why I created the other curve there following the offset. So I'll select this guide, select the cross section, You see when I use the offset curve, how it's giving me, it almost looks like a slinky. It's not a really smooth surface, and you'll see even if I take off the edges here, I make it like a edgeless surface, you see it's still kind of choppy. So I'll go ahead and delete that. Obviously we don't want that. And so this time I'm going to use the curve that I created following the offset, and you'll see I'll get a much smoother surface. Select this guide, take the cross section again. And you can see here I have a nice clean swept surface. So this is what we're looking for, and often you'll see the surface might not intersect the plane, the front plane, exactly how we want. Again, not a problem. We'll just go to our extend command here. We'll just extend the surface out maybe 2 millimeters. Hit finish. And now I'm just gonna trim away the excess and make sure it's flush with that front plane when I go to mirror this part over. Get rid of that. Now it's nice and flush with that plane. Go ahead and show the cylindrical surface here. We need to trim away that inside circle. Just hide these sketches, make it a little easier to view. Just go to I'll use the trim command. I'll select that surface. And then the tool body, selected the curve onto body here. Accept, and I want to remove that inside surface. And right click to accept. And finish. Okay. So now I want to create some bounded surfaces just to cap off these surfaces here, the top and the bottom. This and bottom. Should do one at a time. Just do the top one first, accept. Finish, and we'll do the bottom one, accept. And finish. Okay, so now you can see our handle here, and don't worry about the bottom part. Once we go to unite these two, that's gonna take care of itself. So now that this is done, you can go ahead and stitch these surfaces here in the top. Just missed that part. Let's grab it again and accept. And stitch surfaces resulted in a solid body. Would you like this to become base feature? No, that's fine. Don't need a base feature. I'll just toggle it here to the design body. So you can double click to make it the active body. And you can see it's following the surface pretty accurately. It's almost exact. So now what I want to capture is, we'll capture these little details they have on here. So this chamfer here, I want to capture, and also the little round they have as well. I'll go to my chamfer command, and I'll bring back this body. You can see that it's not equal setbacks. One is obviously longer than the other, the cutout. So just want to go to your options, choose the 2 setbacks option here, select OK, and then chain. You want to select that top surface, hide this, make it a bit more clear, accept, and throw in some values here just so you can see how you can achieve these values. You just throw in numbers and you guess your way through, trial and error. So we'll do 2.5 and 5, and we'll see how it matches up. And you can see, starting with the setback 2, that 5 is going too deep. So we'll We'll bring that value a bit lower, see if it matches up. Let's try 4. Still too low. Let's try a little bit smaller. We'll do 3.5. Yeah, so that's what we want. That's exactly where the line is. So that one's done. Now we need to do setback 1. That's the distance from here and how much it's going to go in. So you can see mine is going almost all the way in. So I need to reduce this value. We'll try 2. That one's too much still. 1 is too little. Went outwards, and 1.5 looks like the right one. Let's hide these and show it. So good. Yeah, 1.5 looks like the exact value we need. All right, we'll go ahead and accept that and finish. Okay, now we just need to create that that round they have along that edge. Bring that back. Looks like a pretty small round. So we want to match it to that purple surface we can see there. The round command, we'll try a value. Let's try 0.2. We'll bring back that surface. And you can see 0.2 is too small. We want to kind of try and line it up to that edge of the purple there. So 0.5, yeah, 0.5 is what we need. You can see how it's following the edge. We'll try 0.4 just to be sure. Yeah, 0.4 is too small. So 0.5, we'll accept, preview, and finish. So you can see when I hide these and bring them back, it almost looks identical. It's just the STL is a bit more choppy, so you see a little difference there. Okay, so that area is done, looks good. So now what I can do is mirror this part over, get it on the other side. So select that body, select the plane, and now we have a nice mirrored body here. If I take off edges, you can see it's a nice smooth transition. Okay, so now we're ready to make the sphere shape here. So we'll hide that solid body, and this is already a closed surface, so all I need to do really is just stitch it. You can just window select the whole surface, all the surfaces there, and result in a solid body. Yes, that's what I want. Finish. Again, it's under construction bodies. We're just going to toggle that on to a design body. So I have 2 bodies here, and remember, as I mentioned, that little extra part here, I'm going to unite them, so it's going to take care of this for me. Home, unite or union, select them and accept. See how that just blends in? It's going to trim it away itself. So now I pretty much have the base of my kettlebell. Now it's just a matter of small little features like the number 8 cutout, some of the cutouts in the bottom. So we'll start with that number 8 cutout. I want to create a sketch on that flat plane there. I'm going to go to my Tools tab, Text Profile, and I know this font is Century Gothic because I've seen it before, so I know. But if you don't know, or if you want it to be exactly as the same font, you can always try Google or maybe open a Microsoft Word document and go through the fonts, see what matches. Put the 8 here. We'll try a size of 15. I'll turn this back on, see how it matches up. And yeah, 15 is way too small. We're gonna go back in here. I'll make this 20, 25. So 25 is pretty close, still a little too small. Now we'll try 27. And 27 is a little too big, so we'll go back. So hopefully 26 should be okay. And yeah, that's pretty close. So we'll go with 26. We'll just place it here. And what I like to do now is, since these things can rotate, I make sure these are all, I select all these lines to keep them vertical and horizontal. And then I'll align these midpoints to the quadrants of the circle here to keep it nice and center of the circle. So you see it's fully constrained. I'll go ahead and close sketch. Cut it out, and remember that distance was 1 millimeters. I'm just going to key in 1, hit enter, click for that direction, hit finish. And I'll just use the mirror feature command to get it on the other side here. Select the cutout, accept, select the right plane there, finish. You should see the cutout on the other side. Okay, so when you have moments like these and you see a little tiny sliver there, what this usually means is the kettlebell just isn't directly centered. It's maybe a 0.2 or 0.5 millimeters off, just no biggie, but often it's really small, 0.005 millimeters even. What we're doing here is just editing our sketch, editing the plane on which the sketch was on. So we're changing it to a parallel plane. I'm going to select that flat surface again, but this time we're just going to offset it just a little bit. We'll do 0.1, should be enough. So you can see it's just 0.1 millimeters above that surface. And now you see how that takes care of that extra surface we had. And to account for that extra distance, we'll just make this cutout 1.1. So our total cutout distance is still 1 millimeter. Finish. Not sure if that's saved. It's dynamic edit again. Yeah, 1.1, we're okay. So now we have the cutout on both sides, looks good. Bring back this construction surface. So now we're going to create these little cutouts in the bottom. I use the right plane, and it can be quite tricky to measure how to do that. You can just take a curve and follow it, but I want to get the actual standard value close to what they use. So I'll start maybe the value of 5, see how it fits. Just click to place it. Okay, the bottom is okay. The top is kind of off. We'll do, oh, I think I entered 52. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to change to 5.2. Yeah, I need to delete that. I'll just undo. I'll make it 5.2. And try to just fit it in. Looks pretty close. It's good enough. I think it's curving a little too much. It depends how accurate you want to be. I'll just try 5.3. I think that should be good. Bring this down a bit. Try and line it up best you can just to get a good idea. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so that looks pretty good. 5.3 looks like it's capturing it well. So now what I do is I'll just delete these, and I like to use circles instead. So I'll just use circle command, tab over, hit tab to get to the radius, 5.3 as we just saw, and place another one for the bottom. Just throw a dimension on it, equal, and now I just line it up. Looks pretty good there. Line up the bottom one, a little closer, and that looks good. Okay, and you want to create the axis of rotation here, so I'm just going to create a line, and I'll make it a construction line, and accept. And hit finish. Now bring back our solid body, and we're going to want to use the revolved cut command. So take our two cross sections here, take the axis of rotation. We want a full 360, and we're getting an error here. Try and edit this sketch. Maybe something's intersecting. That looks okay. Maybe we'll try to move it a bit. Sometimes you'll get these little iffy errors when working with STL files and creating these fit surfaces over them. It's not always going to be perfect. You get little imperfections. As you can see, I'm still getting the error. And I want to show you guys these errors. These are things you will encounter when working with STLs, so you have to be ready to just play around with it and just maneuver around it. You'll find a workaround. It'll eventually work, and you'll see how to make it work. Going around, I can see, and then I'm getting an error after that point. Anything more than 180 looks like getting an error. Yeah. Okay, so I'll go back into that sketch again. And I'll maybe just move it up and see. I'll just move it a bit higher, just make sure it's okay. So if it works here, then I know maybe it's just something with the placement there. Definition, I'll add this one back, finish. Okay, so this time it worked. So now I can just go to dynamic edit. I can just bring it down as close to the area I need. And you can see on the left there that didn't work for a sec, but so, I mean, yeah, that looks good enough. I'll leave it there. Looks like it's fine. There's no errors. I'll bring this back, hide this, and yeah. So that looks good now. Now we can go ahead now and proceed with the leftover rounds. So do this top one here first around that cylinder. The round command. We'll start with 5, see what it looks like. Well, 5 is clearly too small. 6 and 7. You can just tab in these values to get a preview. 7 is the one. I'm going to select the other one as well, accept. And get these rounds captured here on the bottom as well. So like pretty small rounds. Let's try 3. 3 doesn't look too bad. Looks a little big. Yeah, I think 2 looks better. Let's hide this again. 2.5. Let's try the bottom one as well. Not bad. I think 2 is a little better. We'll leave it at 2. Okay. Yeah, 2 is fine. So we'll accept this. And preview, finish. And so we still need a round here on the bottom edge here. Like a bigger round. We'll try 10. So 10 is a little small. Let's try 15. 15 is a little too big, it looks like. Yeah, we'll need something a little bit less. Let's try 13. Yeah, 13 looks good. We'll go with 13. Okay. Take off the edges, and so there you have it. We reverse engineered this kettlebell from scratch. Now you can make any changes necessary, whatever you need to do. Now you have a fully editable solid matching the kettlebell. All right, thanks for watching, guys.